So, hello. Yeah, I just want to make a small point about money going in and out in every calculation, in every person's life. I got this idea from a headline I've read today, and actually I have to admit I did not read anything but the headline, and just that made me think it couldn't be bad to point out what it means. The headline actually says that Switzerland has got the highest wages per hour for whole Europe. That's probably true. If you just get the income per hour and look at the numbers, convert the currencies, it's easily possible that you get the highest number out for Switzerland. Now, let's look at it. Since this is for the whole population, of course, every Swiss, at least in average, is getting so much more than everybody else in Europe. This means the following. Here we have some money. Now I have these 2 Swiss franc coins. This makes it easy. Swiss franc is quite well comparable right now to euros and US dollars. It's in low, if you talk about low amounts, it's quite about 1-to-1. The differences aren't that big. So let's see, a Swiss franc, a Swiss worker probably gets 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, let's say 16 francs per hour. I didn't look up the exact numbers, but I guess this is roughly what you get for an average job. Not a really bad one, not a really good one. You should get this in your pocket at the end of the month. That's, I think that's more or less it. 16. Then let's get the German. I don't know the exact numbers there too, but my estimate is 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's make it 10. I'd say 8 euros is probably about the minimal wage. We don't have a minimal by law in Switzerland, actually. But even though we don't have a minimum, I think our absolute minimum is probably higher than the one in Germany. So let's say 10. I think you can compare it. So then let's estimate something for the USA. I'd say $6 per hour. It's probably somewhere around the minimum. I'd say 8 is about the minimum for Germany, and probably for Switzerland the absolute minimum is probably around 10. So you see it is higher. And when I'm doing it like this, I guess you can probably see even in the camera that there is quite a difference. Now, okay, the American has to go shopping in the evening after work. Let's say he's occupying the employee in the shop for exactly an hour. And the employee in the shop, let's say he's not well paid or really badly paid. So he only gets 4 of those 6. So you take those 4 away for the employee in the shop. He has to get his 4 too. 2 left. Now let's talk. The German is quite about doing the same. He has got 2, 4, he got his 10 euros. He's occupying the clerk in the shop, or the worker there, for exactly an hour. Let's say the one in the shop is 2, paid less than the other one, the office clerk. He gets 2, 4, 6, 8 euros per hour. So you have to get 8 euros to pay the employee in the shop. What you have left? 2. Now let's say the guy in Switzerland with his 16, he has got a lot of money. You have seen that's nearly double from the German. He goes to the shop and has to occupies the employee for an hour too. So the shop owner has to get at least what the employee is costing him. And funnily enough, the shop employee gets 2, 4, what's that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 per hour. So the shop owner needs 14 to pay his employee, and the worker gets 2 out of it. And that's just because people in shops are paid less. If everybody was paid equal, those two, the American, the German and the Swiss, have left. They just have 2 more because they are paid more. They have the better job than the employee in the magazine. That's the only reason why they have money left after they walk out of the shop. If everybody was paid equal, there was no money left after shopping. Oops. So, of course there are actual differences. If you calculate it well and detailed, you do get out that the guy in Switzerland does have a little bit more money at the end of the month than a German, and both Swiss and German are having a bit more money in the pocket than the American at the end of the day. That's true if you calculate it perfectly, but if you just calculate it per hour, you probably have the problem that we are talking about cents per hour. In most cases, if you compare, well, not the poorest countries of the world. So that's the problem with the economy. Money is getting in, but if everybody is getting a lot of money, everybody is also needing a lot of money, and yeah, that's the problem. If you calculate what's left at the end of the day, yeah, there isn't much, or far less than you may think. Of course, this is very basic economy. Everybody ever having attended an economy class got this from the teacher. But after all, not everybody took economic classes, which is understandable. I don't say that's bad, or I say sort of it is bad, because I think everybody is part of the economy. Even if you hate that darn stuff, and if it's boring or whatever, if you don't know anything about it, you will be the one having the problem after all. So it's something you can't really avoid. It's a bit, in our modern world, it's a bit like walking and breathing. If you don't learn it, you will be in trouble quite soon. That's actually why I'm talking about it. And yeah, this is the main problem. Just you see a lot of money lying around in Switzerland. Afterwards, You find out they are spending it all. They have to. The average guy in Switzerland has to spend it. So that explains why people do everything to get more than the others in their own country, because you only get rich if you get more money than the average guy in your country. You can't exceed average if you only get the average. And that makes the whole social problem that big, because there is really a reason wanting to get more. If your goal is to have more, you can't calculate internationally in most cases. Sure, in some cases you can, but the more you are in the average, the less you can do anything to get out of it. So that's why people are doing everything, and even things, things a decent guy shouldn't do, to just get above the average. Below is even worse. And the average is the average of your country, after all, of the people around you. If you don't get high above the average of the average guy in your area, you never get really high. You never get really rich. If you are rich already, you can buy in other parts of the world. You can buy your cigarettes in Mexico and for Mexican prices and somehow get away with it. But if you are just around the average, forget about it. And that's why socialists and even some other people think that the average should be at the level where you can live from. If the average goes below the level you actually need to live, social problems get quite big. That's a fact. Yeah, I think that's enough rambling. I'm still trying to get the timing of my camera and all the stuff right. So if I'm rambling too much, mostly the camera is shutting down before I finished. Which is not the worst thing at all. It saves you from 2 rambly videos after all. I think you got the point. Getting much in is just half of the story. And by the way, that's why rich people are normally very good at saving money, because they know that getting the money in is only half of the point. You only get rich if you can avoid giving much of it out again. So it's probably very true. If you want to know how to save money, ask a rich guy. He does know, otherwise he wouldn't be rich, or he wouldn't be rich anymore. Cheers!